Hey, what's up, everybody? Am I tilted or are you guys seeing me right side up? Because I'm trying to get landscape view on the camera. Unfortunately, I can't read any comments, so I guess I got to do it like this. Oh, such is life. Happy Monday, everyone. You know, uh, I'll let a few more people join. And I suspect I won't get too many on this one for this title and on a Monday morning. But yeah, I've just been sitting here ranting and raving in my house, and I thought, you know what? Instead of responding to all the same accusations I got for a note and just ranting alone, I'm gonna rant with you guys. And y'all, I think I've reached my limit. I'm done with the Democratic Party, and I mean it. That's not. This isn't going to be something where it's like, oh, I'm just upset, and then I'll calm down. No, I'm done with them. Like this party, they are part of the problem. They are part of the problem in a big, big way. Yeah, maybe they're not doing the same thing as the Republicans, but they are enabling what the Republicans are doing. And they don't care. Because just like everyone else that's on Trump's cabinet or on the Republican side of the fence, they're for the rich and they want to keep their little position. And they don't care what happens to us. And I'll walk you through that. And people, just as a quick aside, people keep asking me, where are you going to go? I'm going to be an independent. I'm not going to be a Democrat anymore. Because apparently Democrats care more about independents and MAGA voters than they care about their own constituents. Because they keep failing to deliver on what we want. So why would I stay in a party that constantly puts me second or third on progressive values or on things that are actually needed? And I'll tell you exactly what's happened now, right? Because again, this deal and framework came into place when the airport, when the aerospace started to get threatened. You know, you know why? I'm not wrong, Pam C. I'm not. And I'll tell you why this happened now. Because the rich folks who have their private jets, they went, "Oh my God. Oh no. We're going to be affected by this aerospace shutdown. We're going to be affected by that." See, all right, I'm going to pause this. I love this. It's only emotion. It's only this. It's only just this. No, no, Pam. They're going to make a deal. They are. Because Democrats are itching for a deal. This is how they react in every single time. They're already gaslighting us. They're already setting us up for the okie doke. Already. That's why I'm furious. Please explain to me, how do you win on Tuesday landslide elections across the country? And then by the weekend, you're capitulating. And we shouldn't have even put forth a motion. We shouldn't have put forth a motion at all. It should have been, we won. The people handed us a mandate. If Donald Trump wants to negotiate, he can come to us, and our demands just increased. But Schumer opened the door for it. Oh, well, yeah, we'll kind of do this. Because again, Republicans know if they just wait long enough, Democrats will come to the table. They have no spine. They give these people cover time and time and time again. And I've seen it for 20 years. For those of you who don't know my background, I was raised a Republican. That was back in the day when they were actually, you know, weren't as bad, at least outwardly, as they are now, right? And I became a Democrat in 06. The Iraq War is what turned me around. I went from I registered for the first time to vote as as an independent, and then I became a Democrat. And I got into organizing because of Barack Obama, right? And for 20 years, I've seen Democrats capitulate time after time after time. And at a certain point, you have to stop saying it's not a bug, it's a feature. It's a feature with this party. That's what it is. And and staying on the team and being loyal and saying, "Oh, we'll get them next time, guys," and carry water for these corporatist sellouts, that hasn't worked at all. I'm telling you, this vote will happen because they want they don't want the aerospace shutdown because that actually affects them. It affects the private aviation industry because it affects everything. They didn't care when healthcare subsidies were going to get pulled. Why? Because healthcare companies would make even more money. What do they care? They just pass it on to us. They didn't care when SNAP benefits for the poorest among us were threatened. No, they didn't care. But it wasn't until rich folks that was going to impact them. Suddenly, there's a deal in place. And if you think Chuck Schumer didn't okay this, I got oceanfront property in Arizona to sell you, which I think is a George Strait song. And we keep getting gaslight this over and over and over. We've lost Roe. We've lost a lot of our workers' rights. We've lost, they're not doing anything on housing. They appoint people like Merrick Garland to the DOJ, who didn't hold Trump accountable, and now we're back in this mess. At what point do they take accountability for this? And if we're seeing this and we're going, well, oh no, it'll come around. It'll come around. When? Mamdani damn near ran as an independent in New York and won. All the big Democratic donors, no one gave him any money. And he still beat the pants off of Cuomo. That was their solution. They wanted to run Cuomo. That's who they ran. That's their guy. And again, here I'm telling you, you want to call me prognostication, this is it. Okay? But it's not hard to see when Mamdani's going to try to put in his programs. He's going to try to, do what he can. And the Democrats in New York in the legislature are going to vote it down. Well, we don't have the money. Well, it's not feasible. Well, I don't know. No, we can't raise taxes at a time like this, even on the rich, because that wouldn't be fair. You're going to hear it all. And then when it fails, the corporate media is going to scoop that up and gladly say, "Oh, my socialism just can't work in America. It's just, letting working people get a fair shake. Oh, we can't do that." There comes a point. There comes a point that we have to say enough is enough. I don't know what the solution is moving forward, but I know it is currently not this Democratic Party. Not at all. And I have a suspicion that we won't be able to get new blood in this party. I don't think so. I really don't. I used to think that. I don't anymore. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if it's a grassroots coalition that they'll actually listen to, because they seem to care more about independence and trying to sway MAGA voters, which I guess is their kink, right? If they can get the fascists to go, okay. When was the last time you saw on corporate media, right? When was the last time you saw, Democrats try to persuade progressive voters? Democrats out really trying to get progressive, voters. Never. Never. You just build it, Morgan. You build the infrastructure. We're building we got to stop thinking this stuff, guys. We have got to stop thinking about this is not possible, because it is possible. We're building an independent media space right here online. No one thought that was possible 2 or 3 years ago. It's happening right now. There's Jim Acosta, there's Katie Fang. There's all kinds of voices here that was not possible. That's what's keeping us back, is saying it's not possible. It's not possible. It's not possible. No, man. And again, I'll admit it. I was one of those people. I'm done with being one of those people. I'm done with it. Because at some point you have to say, this isn't working. Because it's not working. I don't know what the solution is right now. And I think that's the problem, that we have to have a solution moving forward. No, we don't. We have to say, I don't know what it's going to do, but it ain't this. Yeah. Obama did build one. Morgan's right. And you know what? I saw the Democratic Party do everything in its power to crush OFA afterwards. Why do you think you don't see Obama that much unless he gets trotted out to try to help Democrats? Why is he not a party leader? You know why? Because the centrists and the corporatists, they don't want him as a party leader, because that's way too close to actually helping out the American people and not the rich. Both parties aren't the same, but boy, they work for the same master. And I don't think, here's the thing. I think when you give non-voters a serious alternative, they will come out. I think the Democratic brand is just as damaged as Republicans. I don't see how you start capitulating when you like the voters handed you a mandate on Tuesday. There's no other way to see that election. There's no other way. Now, I'm not telling you never to vote for another Democrat. That's not what I'm saying. You can stay in the party, and if you do, I would say then try to fight for new leadership. But I don't think, for me personally, I can at this point. I'm tired of trying to fight for this party to change. I've worked at the county level. I've organized in presidential and congressional campaigns. I'm done. They don't listen to us. They don't want to change. It's their same old bullshit. Oh, we'll get them next time. We'll get them next time. We'll get them next time. And look where that got us. I'm tired of next time. I want right now. I want you to fight right now. I want you to get in the arena and throw a damn punch. This leadership is not willing to do that. And it's not because they're scared. It's because they don't work for us. They don't. Just like Republicans have their little thin veneer of independents, like Murkowski and Susan Collins, but when they need that 60th vote, one of them or both of them always show up to deliver it. And then they're just like, well, you don't understand. I had to do it because blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Okay. And it's just like, I'm hearing the same thing now. Well, that's only 5 or 6 of them, Fred. There's only 5 or 6 of them. Okay. And Chuck Schumer's against it. No, he's not. Because one of two things is either happening. One, either Schumer is so weak that none of the other senators respect him and are are going to go against him. If that's the case, he needs to be gone. The other one is he's actually in on it. And he's saying, okay, you guys go out there and you carry water for this. We'll let Angus King do it, because he's independent. And yeah, that way it looks like it's not really us and da da da. Just ask yourself this question. Just ask yourself this question. Okay. Let's say it's reversed, right? What would Mitch McConnell do in this situation? Not turtle as he's fallen down and old and whatever he's going through now, but what would he do in this situation right now? Republicans just had a major win, huge, you know, huge. Do you think he'd be calling for a deal, or do you think he'd be turning the heat up? Yeah. You think he'd be going in front of camera? He's like, "Hey, if Democrats they control the White House, they control the Senate, they control the House, they have the Supreme Court. It's up to them. You know, they want to burn the filibuster down. That's their choice. But we're not moving. These are our demands. You want to reopen the government? Fine. How hard is that? We gotta think differently, man. We've already come up with different things in the resistance to Trump that we're discussing, such as a general strike. We're talking about like planned boycotts. No Kings is organizing on a level I have never seen in my 20 years of closely following politics. Why is this off the table? Why is this off the table? You want to vote in the primary? Fine. Change your voting status to Democrat, vote in the primary. As soon as that primary is done, change it back to independent. I'll send a message. You want to give to a Democratic candidate who's solid? Personally donate to them. No problem. To the DNC? No. Uh-uh. At some point, we have to understand this fight is between up and down, rich versus poor, the haves versus the have-nots, not Democrat versus Republican. That's done. And as far as I'm concerned, that's over. You know, like I said, I will end up probably voting for Democrats because I have no choice until a viable independent puts themselves forward. And we're never going to have viable independents until we actually have an independent coalition of voters. I live in Lauren Boebert's district. You know, I woke up. I live in Lauren Boebert's district. I have no choice but to vote for anybody running against her that has a shot at winning. I really don't care who the Democrats put forward in my district. I've got Trisha Calvaries, who's a former Teamster and labor advocate. I got another woman who's a former admiral. Two women are competing for that. Either one's fine with me. Because they'll do a better job than Lauren Boebert, who's doing absolutely zero for the district. Zero. And then to Yanni's point, Democrats don't, because again, I've lived through this. I organized in the first district of Tennessee. They don't send money. They don't send candidates. So why would you slap a D on the card? Why would you do that? Run as an independent. Find candidates and run independently. Again, look at your state regulations. When do you have to register as a Democrat to vote in a primary? Okay. Register by that date, then vote, and then go back to being an independent. Nice one. Shout out to Jason Odell. A cinnamon leaves, a Fetterman enters. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I really don't know. All I know is a party that's even talking about negotiating at this point is you are negotiating with terrorists. You are negotiating with fascists, is what you're doing. And the problem is they don't see it that way. What they see is a colleague. What they see are Republican. Oh, hey man, can you bail us out on this one, dude? Oh yeah, Trump's not listening, but yeah. What we'll vote for it later. I promise, man. I promise we'll vote for it later in January. So let me get this straight. So a party that's too terrified to go against dear leader, a demented, malignant, narcissistic, probably pedophile, is going to somehow negotiate with you in good faith next year when the heat's not even on at that point, when you've lost all your leverage. Tell me how that's supposed to work. Tell me how that's supposed to work. It won't work. That's the point. So they can keep saying, "Oh, we got to vote for us in 2026. Oh, we really need it. Oh, we'll fight for you then. We'll fight for you then, guys. We promise. We're going to fight for you then." Hey, where's all those investigation and Senate committees on the Epstein files and Donald Trump? We all voted for you. We all turned out. We gave money we didn't have, that we didn't have. Where's that? Well, guys, it's not a good time now. It's not a good time. We got to think about 2028. Got to think about, we don't want to turn off independent voters. Yeah, and we can't really hold these guys accountable because, they were all victims of Trump too. I've seen this playbook. I've seen this play out too many times. I'm sick of it. And I wouldn't be doing my job as someone who's trying to at least suss the truth out of this thing and give you my honest opinion if I'm BSing you and BSing myself and saying, "Oh well, yeah. No, if we just do a little more, guys, if we just do a little more." The only thing better about Democrats than Republicans now is they're better at dangling the carrot and getting us to jump higher. That's it. That's the only difference. And I'm just saying, man, I never catch that. I never grab that carrot. Why am I jumping for this? Why do I keep jumping for this? I got to find different. I got to find something different. You know, you're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Ray. It's Lucy in the football every single time. Every single time. Charlie Brown, man. We're just trying. We never get to kick that damn football. Like I said, I know there's good Democrats. Yeah, but even that, it's like they need to do more. They need to do more. This party needs to do more to have our continued loyalty. They need to do more instead of you know just saying, "Oh well, you know, we'll just wait for the Democrats to be like, you know, horrible people." You know, Like, we'll just wait for the Republicans to be horrible people. We'll wait for Trump and MAGA to be horrible people, and then we'll get in by default. And then when we're in, I do a little bit. Do a little bit. But not enough to really upset status quo. Because I'm telling you, that's what Mamdani's going to be up against in New York. That is what he will be up against. Is these Democrats that have no intention to upset status quo. Now, he might be able to do things because he's in, like, pretty much a city that's like one of the top 10 economies in the world, but he's going to have opposition from the Democratic Party. He already had it when he ran. Michael Bloomberg and Elon Musk and Trump joined forces to back Andrew Cuomo, a known sex pest, against the candidate that Democrats wanted. That's how they're going to treat us. That's how they're going to treat us. And they're treating us like that now. I'm not telling, again, I'll state it again. I'm not telling you don't vote for a Democrat. That's not what I'm saying. If it's between, Chuck Schumer and John Thune, I'm unfortunately voting for Chuck Schumer. But I ain't helping that fool out. I'm not carrying water for him online. I'm not going to make excuses for him. I'm going to hold his ass to the fire even harder. Because apparently, again, they listen to independents and conservatives way more than they listen to us. When's the last time you saw a think piece in the New York Times or the Washington Post or any corporate media that said, what do progressives in the heartland think? What do progressives in Detroit and New York City think? Let's interview them. Let's talk about what their struggles are. No. It's all this hillbilly elegy bullshit. From a fake ass Appalachian who doesn't even know who he is. Because again, they don't care to know who we are. They don't care about working Americans. They don't care about Americans that are suffering or disabled or need SNAP. Did you see a great upswell of suddenly, people saying like, oh man, there's going to be, 42 million Americans that are going to go hungry. Food banks are being overwhelmed. Man, we got to do something, man. We can't let 42 million Americans starve. No. No, what happened was, like, oh no, it's not the airline pack. It's no. Honestly, so GWB's question, are airline PACs funding these turncoat Democrats? Waj Ali thinks yes. I think no. And here's why. I used to work in aviation. I know how their logs, their metrics work, everything else. They've had a terrible, terrible year on tourism. They've gotten shellacked. And that's just because, one, Trump's tariffs and all his rhetoric has caused a lot of international travel to say, no, we're not coming to America. Especially with ICE. Like they're like, no. We're not coming to America and get caught up in ICE and end up in some freaking gulag. We're just trying to have a vacation. We're good. We're going to spend it in Europe, or we're going to spend it in Asia. We're going elsewhere. And so tourism and travel has taken a massive hit this year. The balance sheets are pretty much done. Like it's pretty much over. And what airlines do at that point is they basically say, okay, we're just going to cut back flights so we can keep our profit percentages up. Right? So that's what you're seeing is they like honestly, I think the aerospace shutdown for them was going to be cover, right? They're going to be like, "Oh well, we lost money because of the shutdown. We might need a bailout, government." Now, cargo, FedEx, UPS, those folks, they're going to be hurt. But I think the people that are going to be significantly hurt are the billionaire class and the central millionaire class with their private jets because it's like, dear God, I'm going to be inconvenienced in the slightest. Fuck this. I'm calling up my senator and being like, hey, why are we shutting down aerospace for me? I don't understand. Why can't we fly? Can you make an exception? Well, we got to do something about this. And private jets have gotten to be huge in the last 5 years. I should know. They've tried to recruit me multiple times because of my aviation background. I mean, hell, that's why Cash Patel can go see his country music star girlfriend in Nashville, you know, because again, he uses a government jet so they can, you know. But yeah, no, I don't think it's the PACs. I think it's the donor class, But yeah, private aviation is big, big money now. Way more than it was when I was in aviation, about 8 years ago. It's grown. It got for those of you it got a big, massive boost in during COVID, and so a lot of people and you had like net jets and stuff like that, where I had friends of mine who were flight attendants that went into that field because it was just it's the TSA. There's no TSA. The guidelines are very different, right? You could just basically stroll. You could drive right up to the hangar, put your bag on a plane, and then you step on, and then once the pilot does his check, and you get clearance, you're going. You know, you don't have to nearly go through all the other stuff. And here's a fun fact: did you know at LAX there is a special terminal for celebrities? It's across the airfield on the other side. Yep. You ever see those black Escalades running around? Sometimes they're for politicians in California, but often they're for celebrities. So if they absolutely have to fly commercial, right? You'll see a black Escalade or a black Cadillac or some kind of Cadillac like roll up to the gate, and then they get on last and they sit down in first class. They even get their bags taken in that terminal. They don't go through with us plebs. Oh yeah, old hen, were you the black Escalade? Old hen Charlie says, I was the black Escalade, Fred. Is like, okay. Yeah. That's always been one of the interesting things. Now, yeah, I remember DCA when I was there in 2015, you'd see politicians because, again, it was a little more strict back then. You didn't get all these corrupt perks like the Trump administration does. They still had to fly commercial. So I remember working at DCA and I talked to John McCain on the flight line. I talked to my congressman, Phil Rowe, multiple times. Um, we had a flight where Hillary Clinton went up when she was Secretary of State. That one they had security on. So, but yeah, no, John McCain. I saw Newt Gingrich doing self check in, all that stuff. You know, yeah, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I bet you did, Charlie. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. But yeah, that's where I'm at today. You know, like I'm done with this Democratic Party. You know, I mean, I'll give Biden somewhat of a pass for what he did during his term. I think he tried his best. I think they tried to get back to the institutional, like they wanted, like they thought, like, hey, Trump's a one-off. We're going to try to go back to where it was, and I get it. But Merrick Garland, and again, you can only judge failures by what happens after. No, I haven't seen. I love Jolly Good Ginger. I need to check out his rant, GWB. I haven't. I love Jolly Good Ginger. He's one of my favorite creators, man. That guy is. I'm gonna tell you what. The guy, one of the folks that who says who is about it. He don't just talk about it. He's about it. That's Jolly Good Ginger. That man is out there amongst it. And I would expect nothing less from a foreign military. I think he's Army, but like, no, man, he's just straight up, you know. Yeah, I'm with him then. Me and Ginger, man, I'm with him. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, honestly, it wouldn't be surprised for me, like for independent, for a lot of veterans going independent. That's part of the problem I have with regular folks. I come from two industries where integrity is huge: the Marine Corps and aviation. You can mess up in both those things. You can make a mistake, but man, if you lie, it's done. That's it. You know, aviation, man. You could mess up. You could make all kind of mistakes. But you lie, that's it. I've seen people get walked out the door for something that would have just been a write up because they lied. And it's got to be that way. And I don't know where we got into this society about we just accept this and we have to stop. We have to stop. You know, like we just have to stop. Because then this leads to things like, well, guys, we can't fight for the trans people right now, because it's inconvenient for us. We got to sell out those people that, in our coalition, so we can invite these Trumpers in who have a problem with it because they may not vote for us, even though they're not going to vote for us anyway. Let me be plain on that. Fuck that. Right on, Ray. No, no. Stand up. And that's the problem. I do not have a party right now. We do not have a party right now that stands on business. Stand on business. That's what I'm looking for. By God, if we give you a mandate, if we break our necks, getting people elected, 3 governors. Well, 2 governors and pretty much a mayor that is a governor. We do all that. And your move is, well, let's open motions up for capitulation. No, man. No. They're getting ready to try to get rid of gay marriage. Well, there's just more trans people now. Right. Because they've always been here, man. They're just able to come out now in public more than they were. And we need to have their back. And I'm tired of that. I'm not carrying water for this crap anymore. I'm not. I'm not doing it. You listen, I'm not telling you to leave. You want to stay in the party, you want to fight for better leadership, man, go ahead. I will back that all the way. But somebody needs to be on the outside pushing against this crap. I can't effectively tell people the truth and carry water for liars. I can't do it. I can't. Man, you wouldn't trust me after a while. You'd be like, oh man, he's just another shill. He's just another hack. You know, I don't have an agenda here except just I'm a passionate American that gives a damn about people that are getting stepped on in fascism. That's my agenda. That's it. That's all I've ever had. That's it. And I don't have to be a Democrat to do that. Doesn't mean I'll never vote for a Democrat. Doesn't mean I'll say, well, you're a fool for staying in the party. No, I'm not saying that neither. But I can't do it. I can't. I won't be effective. I've been mad at these people for too damn long. I'm tired of making the jokes of, well, that's a Democrat. Well, that's the Democratic Party for you. Even when Joe Walsh came over and he's like, I'm a Democrat now, I was like, man, why the hell would you do that, bro? That was my first thought. I was like, bro, no. Like, mm-mm. And I think Joe Walsh, as much as I disagreed with him and didn't like him during the Obama era, I want him to run for something. I would back Joe Walsh, even as an independent. Not as a Republican. No. That party really needs to go. But, you know, you got to ask yourself, do you think, you know, do you really think that this Democratic Party is going to be is going to demand demagnification? Do you think that they're going to demand that all of Trump's enablers be held accountable? Because there's a damn good chance he's going to die, that he is going to die before he leaves office. Not by assassination. I'm not threatening the president's life. None of that stuff. I'm talking about just from looking at the man and actuarial tables and health. I'm just playing the actuarial tables and the odds. You know, he's not in good shape. And do you think this party, with what they're doing now and the actions that they're showing you, is going to go, we need to release the Epstein files. We need to hold everybody accountable, even though we know it's a lot of our rich friends and donors that are on that list that enabled Jeffrey Epstein. We need to release it. Or are they going to go, well, the guy who caused all this is dead. Nothing to see here. No files, nothing. We're good. You know, back away, back away. We're going to have to come to a point where we understand that this is up versus down, that this is rich versus poor, haves versus haves nots, us against them. That's it. Parties are increasingly, they don't matter. Because what's the government? They're trying to rip it apart. And increasingly, what has it delivered for you? Little bits here and there, but has your life gotten better or worse over the past 40 years, 20 years, 10 years? Millions of people died during COVID because what? Here's the thing: there are solutions out there right now that could be easily implemented. It's just a question of priorities. We have $140 billion for ICE. But we don't have enough for SNAP. That's too much. Was that even on the table for opening up the party? Did you ever hear any Democrat? Maybe Bernie might have said it, or somebody down the line. But did you ever hear any of them say, "Yeah, man, if you're going to open the government, you gotta defund ICE back to, pre-levels"? No. if the shoe was on the other foot, and Democrats had passed, like, and they had passed, um, you know, the woke Legion bill or some shit, and put $140 billion into that, and we're going around to red states and saying, "Oh, well, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna have all this woke legislation." Do you think if the Republicans were in this situation right now, that they would say, hey, like, you don't think, and if they'd won this, that the Republicans wouldn't go, yeah, y'all got to get rid of that woke brigade. It's got to go. Or we ain't voting for nothing. Y'all do it on your own. 100% they would. 100%. And while they may not have gotten the whole thing, I guarantee you they would have got it defunded a fuck ton. Huge. But do the Democrats even try to do that? That's the thing. I could carry it if they tried. If they said, we want this and we want this and we want universal health care. We want this. We want this. We want you to defund ICE back to before the big, beautiful bill. We want this. And, everybody in the world was like, corporate media, well, Democrats are overreaching. Oh, Democrats are playing politics with the shutdown. Da, da. Yeah, I'd be one of the first ones like, man, go ahead, Democrats. Hell yeah, play politics. That's the whole point. That's the game. That's the sport you're in. But the problem is the Democrats are too afraid of losing than trying to win. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, what are they afraid of losing? Is it our vote? Doesn't seem like it. Maybe it's their corporate donors that donate to both parties. Maybe that's what they're afraid of losing. And that's why they're so bad at politics. Maybe they're not bad at politics. Maybe we're refusing to understand that's the game that's being played, and it's being played on us. And at a certain point, you got to accept reality. At a certain point, you have to say, yo, we're getting took. We're getting took. Now, I don't know what the answer is to that, but I know continuing to do what we've done is not helping. And I've seen it in the chat. Like, Citizens United, I agree. It's, that I like all the stuff you guys are you're listing. I agree. I completely agree. 100% agree. How do we change it? Honestly, I think it comes from pressure inside and out. What's up, Jim? No, I think it comes from pressure inside and out. That's what it comes for. And that's where I'm at today. That's where I'm at today. I may not be one of the people that's going to stay inside the party and going to, push for change. I've tried that. Frankly, I'm done with it. Maybe it's time for somebody else to do that. But you know what? I can become an independent and I can still push and I can still do my part and I can still do my lifts and I can still do what needs to be done. And that's what I'm going to do. Maybe pressure from outside. They might start going, man, like, dude, a lot of these independents, man, they want things like, because again, poll after poll after poll after poll says Americans want universal health care. They hate the insurance companies. They don't mind sensible background checks for firearms. When you start putting together like pro-union or pro-socialist policies on fair pay or housing, when you don't tell them it's like it's socialist or it's progressive or it's this, they want it because people just want a fair freaking shake. People want to work, but they don't want their work to be for nothing. the problem I'm having now, man, is like I'm not a corporatist. I can't stand corporations. I think billionaires should be taxed out of existence. They're more like a cancer and parasites on a society than they are of helping it. That's too much wealth and concentrated in too few hands. These are things in this era, we are going to have to wrestle with, that we are going to have to grapple with. And at this point, all ideas need to be on the table. It can't just be, well, your option, guys, if you're not, if you're not involved in politics, you can become a Democrat. Think about that for a second. How does that sell to someone who's disinterested in politics right now and sees what's happening and they're like, wow, that's my option? I can become a Democrat? That's not going to sell. Or we could say, hey, you can join our coalition and we're going to fight for this and we're going to push every politician to do this. All of them. And I think that, to me, seems more and more like the prescription. I think we're headed that way. I think that's the way we're headed. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I mean, in good conscience, I can't keep telling people, hey, join the Democratic Party. Come over here. When I'm not feeling it. I have to be in a place where I can call out both these fools and not worry about it. And say no. Because again, there's this through line when you're part of that thing, when you're part of an organization, you kind of don't want to criticize the organization. Unless you're a Marine. Then you do it. Well, but no, I mean, I'm tired. Like, that's not a winning strategy. Like, we have a third of people that sat at home in 2024. And we've got to get these people engaged. Got to get them. I'm not telling you not to vote. I'm not telling you not to withhold your vote. That is suicide. And if it's against a fascist and a corporatist, hold your nose and vote for the corporatist. And then hold their feet to the fire. But I ain't joining this club. Yeah, Joe, it's, for some of you who's only getting the audio, that happens from time to time with Substack, especially when you go long. But yeah, that's where I'm at today. And I think it's this time is sticking. I've felt this so many times in the past few years where it's like, okay, yeah, all right, man. Shit, it'll pass. Like, you're mad now, but it'll pass. This one ain't. I'm telling you now, folks. This one ain't passing. It ain't passing. I know me and how I am. Once I reach that place, it's it. I mean, that's done. And it takes a long time to get me there. But once I'm there, I'm there. There ain't no going back. Because what that means is I've already had the doubt and the waffling. I've already had the, I don't know. Well, maybe we can turn around. Maybe we can turn around. Maybe we can turn around. No. I don't think you can turn this party around. Not without new leadership and new direction. And I think that's going to come from both internal pressure and external pressure. And if that internal pressure comes from like, damn, man, we're hemorrhaging our small donor base. We're hemorrhaging our support because they keep going independent because we're not fighting. Then get rid of them fools. If you're telling me there is enough of you, well, and the centrist sellouts, there's only like 5 or 6, then kick them out. Send a message. Oh, but then they might go Republican. If they're enabling Republicans, they're Republican. They're not Democrats. I'm tired of this. Well, we're a big tent party. No, we're not. We're a bunch of little ass tents in a big ass field that don't want to work together. Meanwhile, the corporate tents taking all the damn money. No, I'm done. You've let us. You lost Roe v. Wade. You're about to lose gay marriage too with Obergefell. That's going to go next. You lost the Supreme Court. You didn't prosecute Trump, which should have been. The man had a coup on January 6th. A freaking coup. Nakedly. Out in the open. And you didn't prosecute him. How the hell am I supposed to carry water for that? How? How am I supposed to carry water for that? I don't care if it got messy with Joe Biden. He wanted to run for election. Then it went to Kamala. Fine. Shit happens. People don't know when it's time to hang it up. Fine. But you didn't prosecute him. Trump. It was a layup. You could have broken the Republican Party right then and there. And you didn't do it. Sure, man. Maybe Joe Biden's not going to be the guy to do it. But there's all those senators. They could have pressured the DOJ to do it. They could have pressured Merrick Garland to do it. They could have pressured Joe Biden to put in freaking Jack Smith or someone who's a fighter, but they didn't do it. And I'm tired of carrying water for that, man. Because now we're here. We've seen the consequences of what happens when you do not hold fascists accountable. And they're doing it again. That's why I'm so damn mad. You're negotiating with terrorists, essentially, that have seized control of our government. And I'm tired of that. I'm sick of it. They're talking about they're trying to they want to get an expert in front of Congress to say, well, actually, VA disability, that makes veterans dependent on the government. We shouldn't have that. We should and PTSD is curable. Man, get the hell out of here. And you try to tell veterans over and over and over, man, they come for SNAP, or they come for trans, or they come from LGBTQ, or they come for poor folks, and they come from Medicaid, they come from Medicare, they come for us too. And what's happening? They're coming for us too. That's why I keep saying civil rights is an all or nothing proposition. Period. It has to be, by definition, because if one part of the population does not have it, that means my civil rights are weakened. And what I'm talking about right now, the passion I have, that's the urgency. That is what I need from a party. And the Democrats ain't it. Not as a party. Individual members may be, not as a party. And I'll back those individual members. I'll back them so that they can take over their own damn party. But I ain't gonna be a part of it until they do. You take it over and you say, man, we're unapologetically progressive. Okay. We're unapologetically progressive. We're going to support civil rights. We're going to support workers' rights. We're going to have soft infrastructure. We're going to do this, and this. Okay, good. I'll put on champagne with "Try Me Again," like "Try Again" song. Be me and you. We'll give it another go, baby. Maybe we can try again. Yeah, champagne. Listen to it. You'll love it. See, and this is what everybody thinks. Everybody thinks if you leave the party that you can't ever vote Democrat again. I don't know where everybody gets that. This is part of that mentality. That's part of that mentality they got me, that they had me and they got y'all messed up with. Is that, oh well, I'm an independent. I can't vote for a Democrat. Who says? Like, this is what I want you to don't think of the individual Democrat you like. Not AOC, not Bernie, not whoever it is. Mallory Monroe, whatever. Think of the party itself. The party. What has the party done in these last 20 years to really make a difference? What has the party done? I can tell you what the Republicans have done and what MAGA has done. They get in lockstep behind their candidate. It just so happens now to be an old demented grifter who's an adjudicated rapist and a pedophile. But what have the Democrats done? As a whole, as a party. What, ACA? And then it got to the Senate and they got rid of the public option? That was the last big thing. That was it. It was ACA. And then they watered it down ever since. And now we're at, oh, well, guys, we really want to get healthcare subsidies so we can keep paying even more tax dollars to private insurance companies that are using AI to basically take away healthcare from tens of thousands of people every year who are dying. I mean, that's the best we can do. Yeah, Terminator. Clinton balanced the budget. It was more than 20 years ago. This century, what have they done? And you can keep listing off all of these. It's like, well, they did the Infrastructure Act. Well, they did this. They're Band-Aids, man. They're Band-Aids. That's, as a party, that's what they've done. They've let voting rights get curtailed. They've allowed voter suppression. They've allowed Roe v. Wade to freaking get. They don't take strong stances as a party. That's why we keep having different chairs damn near every election cycle. Whoever the one it is from Minnesota, he'll be gone next. Because they keep going like, oh, well, it's the chair of the DNC. It's their fault. Yeah. People aren't excited about it. They're the ones that are the problem. No. Our party, my former party's a problem is because they ain't got no dog in them. They ain't got no fight. First thing they do when they get in the arena is like, okay, well, all right, guys, here's the deal. All right, if you promise not to hit me in the face, I'll go down in the second round. Is that okay? At least, maybe, it'd be nice if you let me last to the third round, and then they get out and they'll say, well, yeah, we lost in the third round. Well, they were nice. The Republicans were nice to let us go to the second round, and so then we lost. But I tell you what, after this next training regimen, guys, we're gonna get better and we're gonna be better. Man, I'm tired of it. I'm sick to death of it. I want some go fuck yourself progressives. That's what I want. Hey, we're gonna starve Americans unless you reopen the government and let even more die. Nah, go fuck yourself. We ain't taking that deal. Especially when you have proof, right? Especially when you have proof on an election that the people are with you. At that point, I have to ask the question that, hey man, why are they capitulating? It don't make no logical sense. It's literally like being in a football game and you just went on a tear and you're up 21-0, and it's like, All right, guys, we'll just start taking a knee. It's the third quarter. Yeah, but if we take a knee, we can run the clock out, you know, and yeah. Do you want to even punt on fourth down? No, 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 no. Like we got to make it interesting. So if we give them the ball on the 10, that yeah, that like you're playing to lose at that point. Playing to lose at that point. Either it's leadership or it's the party as a whole. I don't know what it is, you know. But here's what I'm going to say to these Democrats that are fighters: you're going to have to buck your party leadership. You're going to have to do it. Like you are going to have to fucking buck your party's leadership. You know, that's it. Jasmine Crockett, AOC, all y'all, you're going to have to buck this party's leadership. You're going to have to push them the hell out. Push them out. Go against them. Rip them to shreds. Because you know what? That's what Republicans would do to their own. And they keep getting in power. You want us to freaking to get your back? You want us to freaking come over and support you? Then push them out. Push them out. I'm tired of making excuses for a party that won't fight for women, that won't fight for LGBTQ, that won't fight for trans folks, that won't fight for working people, that won't fight for poor people. I'm tired of it. I'm sick to death of it. And if there's as many good Democrats as people say there are, then fight and take over. We'll back you. Otherwise, we got to figure something else. Got to do something else. Because I ain't quitting. I ain't giving up. But this, nah, man. Nah. You want to ask me to carry water for this? No. Mm-mm. I'll be a sellout like the rest of them. And I ain't selling out. I'm too damn angry to sell out. I'm not saying it's a virtue. It's probably a flaw. But I'm just too damn obstinate. That's the one thing from a Southern tradition I still have. You know, no. Mm-mm. Like, it's like, oh, we're Southerners. We're independent. Yeah, man. Well, then burn the Confederate flag and push them fools out that have held our culture back. Stop stealing from black folks and then and then pushing them to the side. That's another rant. I could go on a rant about that too. You know, I'm anti-government. Well, then stop licking boots. Why are you looking at fascist boots if you want to be, I'm an independent, I'm a this, I'm a that? No, man. And if I'm not going to lick fascist boots, I'm damn sure not going to shine corporate shoes. I ain't doing it. Hell no. No. You know, I'm sorry. I'm just going to be that perpetual pain in the ass to power. I'm just going to do it. I'm not built any other way. You know, can do it. So that's where I'm at today. You know, I appreciate y'all coming on here and let me rant a little bit. You know, I don't have all the answers right now. Well, Susan, they haven't caved yet, but they're on the way to caving. So I fully expect that within the week. Yeah. But yeah, you listen, you'll still find me on the front line. I'm still gonna be out there. I just ain't wearing I'm not wearing the same colors now. You know, I ain't standing with them fools. I'm going over here. I'm still gonna be out there on that line, but I ain't gonna be standing with them fools. Because you know what? What gets hard. I'll be standing there in the front and look behind me, and they'll be running back. They'll be running back to the rear. No, man, I want to stand with the fighters. I want to stand with people that want to go out and hit somebody in the mouth, namely fascists. I want to stand with people who want to defend democracy. I said, and as a party, it ain't the Democrats. And until they prove otherwise, and this is a call to the people that have our trust, to Jasmine Crockett's, to AOC, to all those people, go out and push these fools out. Push them out. You got to push them out. You will have way more support than you are getting now. Push them out. I'm going to go do my best from the outside and keep doing what I'm doing. That's where I'm at. Anyway, I appreciate y'all. Thank you for taking the time to let me do this rant. That's all I got for you on this Monday. Like I said, I appreciate y'all. Anyway, as always, keep the faith, defend democracy, and I'll see you later.